Hello and welcome to the 2025 Riverside County Point-in-Time Count training. Thank you for joining us in this important effort to improve the understanding of homelessness in your county. The training is focused on the count and survey effort, which will take place on January 22nd. We will share additional details regarding the purpose and methodology as this training continues. Before we start, we'd like to thank you for your participation in this year's pit count. We couldn't do this without you. Today's objectives are as follows. We'll learn about the homeless count. We'll learn how to prepare for the count. We'll learn the roles of the team. We'll learn how to perform the count. We'll learn how to be safe throughout the process. And we'll learn how to complete the survey tool accurately. All volunteers are required to register in order to participate in the count. During the registration process, we'll ask about the city you prefer to volunteer in, transportation capabilities, and if you have the ability to speak multiple languages. There's also a liability waiver and an emergency contact collection effort. This year, the homeless street count and homeless youth count will be combined into one effort, a change from previous years. The count will take place on Wednesday, January 22nd, and start at 5:30 a.m. Please be prepared to show up at 5 a.m. so you can be checked in and sent on your way. The service-based count will also take place on Wednesday, January 22nd, and last from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. The unincorporated count in most areas will take place on Wednesday the 22nd, Thursday the 23rd, and Friday the 24th. As Riverside County has done in previous years, the More Than a Count initiative will offer same-day housing services to all individuals over the age of 60, under the age of 25, or if they identify as a veteran. We'll talk more about this later in the video. Finally, the post-count effort will take place during the 7-day period after the count as needed. The point-in-time count is a physical count of the sheltered and unsheltered homeless population in a certain location. It is conducted nationally at one point in time during the last 10 days of January. The pit count is a federally mandated event required to be performed every 2 years. Data collected is used to determine resources needed to address homelessness, determine the extent of homelessness in the community, and raise public awareness about homelessness. For the purposes of the pit count, homelessness is defined as an individual or family with a primary nighttime residence that is not normally used for human habitation. This includes individuals living on the street, in a tent, in their car, a park, an abandoned building, on the bus, at the train station, at the airport, in an RV, and other locations not intended for human habitation. In order to access the Riverside County Pit Count Survey, volunteers will be required to download the Survey 123 application on their smartphones. This survey allows volunteers to interact with people experiencing homelessness during the pit count. The survey is user-friendly and incorporates skip logic. This means that based on a response to a certain question, the follow-up questions will change. To get the Survey 123 application on your phone, you'll need to go into the App Store and type in the search bar, Survey 123. Select the application that matches the logo shown on the screen. Press Get and install it on your iPhone. If you already have the app, you can skip this step. Just please make sure to update it if necessary. In order to get the 2025 Riverside County survey on your mobile device, you'll need to scan the QR code or click the link we provide. These will become available to you prior to the count. When you get into the survey, you'll first be prompted with a few questions. First, Survey 123 will ask for access to your camera. Please select Allow. Next, the app will prompt you to sign in. Please select Continue without signing in. After that, the Survey 123 application will ask to use your location settings. Please select Allow while using app. From there, the survey will ask you to enter in your full name, phone number, and whether you're able to interview this person or not. After you complete your first survey, you'll need to press the check mark in the bottom right corner of the screen and press Send Now. After that, you'll need to reopen the survey and start the process again. There are two types of enumeration processes you'll need to know about when conducting the pit count. First, there's the general survey, which asks you to interview the individuals you're speaking to. This is the preferred method in which we'd like to receive the data. Please default to using this method unless you're unable to interview them. The other method is an observational survey, which asks you to observe any given person that doesn't wish to be interviewed and document those observations. The observational survey asks for demographic information, such as estimated age, gender, and race. On the day of the count, it's important to wear and bring the following items: comfortable walking shoes, boots or hiking shoes, no heels or open-toed shoes, casual clothing such as jeans and t-shirts, bright colored or reflective shirts without any logos and branding, some form of ID, a fully charged cell phone, a flashlight, eat a light breakfast and bring small snacks if necessary, and if you have one, a fanny pack. When you arrive at the deployment site on the morning of the count, you'll need to check in with the deployment site lead in order to confirm that you submitted a liability release form. You'll also need to let the deployment site lead know if you're bilingual, if you're an experienced outreach worker, or if you have a large vehicle and are able to transport other volunteers. After that, you'll open up the Survey 123 application and make sure you're good to go. On the morning of the count, each volunteer will be assigned to a count team. Each team will be provided with maps and assigned to pre-identified locations. Each team will be responsible to canvass only their assigned areas. At this point, I'd like to go over the volunteer team roles. First, there's a team lead, who leads the group and ensures that everyone is safe. This is often a volunteer with prior pit count experience. They ensure that every member of their team has their phone number and the deployment side leader's phone number as well. Secondly, there's a counter. The counter surveys individuals experiencing homelessness using the Survey 123 application on their cell phone or their tablet. Lastly, there's a lookout, who keeps an eye on the area and assists the team leader with safety and incentive distribution. The check-in time for the point-in-time count is 5 a.m. Volunteers will need to check in via the sign-in sheet, as well as check out after the point-in-time count is completed. You'll receive instructions and team assignments, maps, field team supplies, and incentive bags. On the morning of the count, you'll receive a number of materials and supplies, including the incentive bags, the Home Connect number and brochure, the More Than a Count initiative sheet, which includes immediate assistance phone numbers for veterans, seniors, and youth, sign-in sheets, and a day of the count agenda. On this slide, you'll see a copy of the resource guide we'll provide you. As stated previously, we'll provide you with these sheets prior to the count. The More Than a Count initiative aims to provide immediate housing services to unsheltered persons during the point-in-time count. These populations include veterans, transitional aged youth ages 18 to 24, and seniors ages 60 and over. On the morning of the count, if you run into someone over the age of 60, under the age of 24, or a veteran looking to receive housing services, these are the numbers you'll need to call. If you're in Districts 1 and 2, you'll call Rashana Walker at 951-203-4035. If you're in Districts 3 and 5, you'll call Amy Primrose at 951-640-4084. And if you're in District 4, you'll call Morella Orozco at 951-836-3897. Again, you'll receive a copy of this prior to the count. Counting teams include street outreach staff and county staff familiar with community resources and experienced in engaging and interacting with the unsheltered population. You'll be able to differentiate a community volunteer and a county or outreach staff member via the badges shown on the screen. Here are some safety considerations to take note of when conducting the point-in-time count. Please seek the assistance or guidance of law enforcement if you notice that they have layers under and on them to keep them warm enough, they're dry, they have uncontrollable shivers, or if you can see the rise and fall of their breathing. Always call 911 if you or someone else is at risk of danger. When conducting interviews for the point-in-time count, Make sure to be polite and ask if you can have about 10 minutes of their time. Reassure the person that their answers are confidential and anonymous, and provide further clarification or examples when individuals clearly do not understand the question. Safety comes first for all point-in-time count participants. We don't anticipate anyone being in dangerous situations during the count, but we still advise volunteers to follow safety practices, make sure they're doing everything they can to prevent harm from happening, ensure that if anything threatens their safety or the safety of others, they will know what to do, be cautious when approaching occupied vehicles, don't knock on windows, and don't try to open any vehicle doors. After completing the point-in-time count in your designated area, you must return to the deployment center to check out. Do not go home without checking out first. When conducting interviews for the point-in-time count, make sure to ask all questions unless the person has already given the answer to the question over the course of your conversation. Always ask questions as they are written. Do not ask questions in a way that shows you think you already know the answer. For example, if you're going to ask about their gender, you would say, "How would you define your gender?" Don't say, "You're male, right?" On the next few slides, we'll talk a little bit more about how to conduct an interview on the day of the count. Please remember to use the provided intro text on the survey. It says, "Hello, my name is Alex. Today we're conducting a survey to better understand a person's housing status." You'll then ask if you can have about 10 minutes of their time, and while doing so, you'll maintain eye contact, use a tone of voice that's approachable, speak slowly, be polite and don't shout, and always obtain their consent. As we're conducting the interviews, please make sure to go through every question. As a reminder, these people have a right not to answer the questions at all. As we're finishing up the survey, we'll ask all individuals if they're interested in having a service provider staff member contact them to provide information about housing services. We'll need to obtain their contact information and consent for follow-up. You'll then thank them for their time, offer them an incentive bag, and take a few minutes after your conversation to double check that you've completed the entire survey. During any given survey, the person may decide halfway into the survey to stop participating. Do not force anyone to continue if they don't want to. Please just offer an incentive bag and thank them for their time. If you've collected most of the information, you can continue with the survey and answer "don't know/refused" for the remainder of the questions. If you have not collected a lot of information, delete the interview survey and complete an observational survey. Volunteer registration closes January 15th. Once volunteer registration is complete, volunteers will receive an email with their check-in time and location for the day of the count. Here's some homework for you to do prior to the count. Please practice using the Survey123 application on your phone, at home, on your family, friends, and neighbors. Your goal should be to survey at least 10 individuals. Practicing with the survey will allow you to gain familiarity with the format and become more comfortable asking each question. The count will happen rain or shine. At this point in time, there are no anticipated changes. If something does change, we'll text all registered volunteers with any updates. Let us know if you're not coming. Plans and availability do change. Email us at rivcopit@rivco.org. If you have any technical or support questions, please email rivcopit@rivco.org. Remember to check your emails for point-in-time count updates. Thank you for your participation in the 2025 Riverside County Point-in-Time Count. We couldn't do this without you, and we look forward to seeing you.